I think the power of the gap year is to essentially give yourself permission to wander and find the clues that can help you get directionally correct. Because you can only connect the dots looking back, you can't connect them looking forward. And so by giving yourself the opportunity to go wide rather than deep, you can get a taste of a whole bunch of things. And I think that can be really valuable. It was really valuable to me over the last 1 year, going from tennis to university and being super lost to now in the startup space and feeling like these are the people I want to be around and learn from. If you're trying to figure out which direction you want to go with your career, maybe you're stuck or you're not really where you want to be, this video is for you because that was literally me a year ago. Hey, I'm Rahul. I'm 22 years old. I used to play tennis internationally and now I'm in the startup space working for a fintech travel company called Slice. I'm learning so much right now. I feel like I'm getting a software update every week. And so it's like, why not document those learnings and share them here? Last year, I quit my corporate job to spend time figuring out what I really wanted to do. I spent the year making documentary films, skiing, interning at a startup, volunteering in Cambodia, and even doing the Everest Base Camp trek. It was literally a year of side quests. And so I want to share the story and the learnings from this gap year because it was literally one of the best things I've ever done. I kind of want to start off and talk about how I structured a gap year because that's really important, especially so you don't waste it and you can be a lot more intentional about how you spend your time. So there were three kind of pillars, and basically the first one was travel. The second one was projects, not jobs. And that's through like just gaining experience and building skills. And the third one was how can I increase my rate of learning? If you are just doing a gap year to purely travel, I would think twice about that because you can actually get that travel fix in your uni holidays. And so there's a difference between a travel gap year and a project-based learning gap year. I do want to preface two things that kind of de-risked this gap year for me. And the first one was that I was still in my last year of uni. So I had uni 1 day a week. I put all my classes onto 1 day so that I could have the rest of the time free. But I didn't think it was any point to drop out of uni just because it was in my last year and I thought I've already done 3 years, may as well. So that was one part, and the second part was I also went back to tennis coaching. It was a bit of a hit to the ego to go back, but I think it was really important for number one, cash flow, and number two, time freedom. So I would basically tennis coach a few evenings a week and then have the rest of the day free and the weekend and whatnot to do whatever I want. So the way I set up these travel plans was I had basically the middle chunk of the year was for a ski season. And then I had a trip to Vietnam and Cambodia in August-ish time. And then I had a big 1 month trip to India and Nepal at the end of the year. And so that was how my year was structured. And then I just thought, okay, I'm going to backfill the rest of it with all these other opportunities. Cool. I think it's important to give a little bit of backstory and answer the question of how did I actually get here? And so yeah, I spent more than 10 years playing tennis and getting to an international level. And when 2020 came around, I was kind of at this point where I was in my final year of high school, but also super burnt out from just traveling a lot and playing tennis and trying to balance both at like the highest level. And it came to this point where it was like COVID had hit and I was forced to stop playing tennis, and it gave me this breathing room that I hadn't experienced in a long time. And I kind of took that and decided that I didn't want to go to college in the US, which was my plan for so many years. So I kind of pushed aside all those opportunities and decided to stay here in Sydney. So I studied construction project management at uni, and it's a 4-year degree. And in my third year, I did a 1-year cadetship. Basically, it's full-time work, full-time study in the industry. And so that gave me a real good taste of what I liked and what I didn't like. And something wasn't right. It wasn't where I wanted to be, and I felt really lost and really stuck at that point. And that's at the end of that 1-year cadetship, which was the start of last year, that's where I took this gap year. So one of the key things I wanted to consider was how can I build some key skills throughout the year. And one of those skills, I guess, was like video editing and just everything around that kind of that video space. And that led me to working with Sachin and Adam. And I got to work on their first documentary, Friends to Founders. I got to help them with the Malcolm Turnbull podcast. And so these few opportunities really were super pivotal to me at the time because they were very valuable for my own skill building and also to be around awesome people to learn from. Shyam Puri says, don't let your dreams float in a magical theoretical bubble. Pop that bubble and find out what you really love. And that was really the basis for me for that next step. I told myself at the time, if I want to find my people, I have to be part of the community. You can't be on the sidelines and make these theories about who you think you're going to be resonating with. No, you have to actually be part of the community and find out for yourself. And that's kind of what led me to spending time down in the Snowy Mountains. I ended up living down in the Snowy Mountains for 2 months alone, skiing, doing avalanche safety, backcountry training, shadowing filmmakers and photographers down there, and just really just trying to be part of the community, trying to meet people that I was interested in and really understand, is this who I want to be like? And the thinking behind this was that I love adventure sports and I love filmmaking. I'm interested in this. I want to learn more. I want to build the skills. Why don't I bring those two passions together and kind of be at the intersection of action sports and kind of filmmaking? Honestly though, something didn't feel right. The more time I spent down there, the more time I realized I was a complete outsider in this community. And I didn't fully resonate with the lifestyle and the people. There were some awesome creative people I got to meet, so I'm super grateful for that. But as a whole, I ended up being super lonely and had a lot of time on my hands to really think about my decisions and what was next, because I knew that wasn't the pathway I kind of wanted to go down. The truth is, I would never have known that if I didn't go down there. I was in a theoretical bubble, and a key takeaway I think from that whole experience was that your idea of what you think it's going to be and the reality of what it really will be is usually completely different. And you'll never know if you're sitting on the sidelines. You have to kind of take that risk, put yourself in it, and kind of immerse yourself in the community to really figure out, does this resonate or does it not? After I came back from the snow, I went to Vietnam and Cambodia. I went with a bunch of uni students and we built housing for underprivileged families in Cambodia, which was awesome. And then I came back and went on a lot of coffee catch-ups with people I thought were interesting. And then I spent that last month of the year in India and Nepal. And I got to do Everest Base Camp with a mate. It's like such an incredible time. But between all that, I ended up doing an internship at a tech startup called Slice. And that kind of is what led me to where I am now. That whole gap year was kind of a lead up into that. And these serendipitous things that happened were all contributing to kind of where I ended up now. And I'm not that far down that path, but to be honest, like, that was an incredible year, and I went from being super lost to having just kind of a little bit more direction. So I want to share that with everyone because I think it could be valuable if you're at that point where you're really just trying to figure it out and not really sure. I hope this is valuable.